Welcome to Story Behind the Story. I'm your host, Tristynn Clark. Today I'm with Sidney Lowry. How are you doing today, Sidney?
I'm doing just great. We're here at production night and we're getting ready to make a paper.
Perfect. So here at the Missourian, I hear you have a high up position. What do you do here?
I'm the editor-in-chief of the paper. I kind of oversee the content that goes out every single week, making sure that the print edition and the online content looks good, talking to and communicating with our advertising staff, and talking to pretty much anyone that I have to.
So how long does that make it that you've been in the Missourian, that you've gotten to the position of editor-in-chief?
So I started with the Missourian the very first day of freshman year. I started in our practicum as a news reporter. About halfway through that year in the spring semester, I started as a paid staff news reporter. And then after that, I was news editor for a year. Last year, I was managing editor for a year, and so I decided to just apply for editor-in-chief.
There you go, you got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what we're here.
So you said you started as a news reporter.
Mm-hmm.
So what's been your favorite story you've written so far?
A really unique story that I wrote was around the time that the war started to break out in Ukraine, we kind of wanted to put a face to that. So we found there was one Ukrainian foreign exchange student on campus, and so I got the opportunity to talk to him in that room over there and kind of just ask him how it felt to be in Maryville while his family was over in Ukraine and having to live out that experience. So it was kind of a two-parter. The first part was his firsthand experience with having his family be over there and him being in Maryville, and then Bob Berglund upstairs did kind of he taught over in Ukraine, so it was like a host family situation, and he gave me the contact information to someone who was living in Ukraine at the time, and so I was on WhatsApp. We talked for like an hour and a half and about what it was like to be in Ukraine. Like, she was talking about how her family was Russian, and it was a really cool experience.
So you're a senior. What are you looking forward to most for the rest of the semester?
I've been here for 4 years, and the goal every single year is just to get better and better. And then, I mean, obviously you see that improvement the next year, but the goal is kind of the same for me, just to make sure that the staff that's currently working for the Missourian gets better, and then next year they continue making great papers every single week.
Sidney, what have you been working on recently here at the Missourian?
So on top of our weekly issues, we've also been planning a special issue for, it's the end of Suicide Prevention Awareness Month, and then we're also kind of bringing in mental health resources and stories about mental health into the news section of our paper next week. So we've kind of been working on planning that, creating graphics for it, talking about the layout, talking about who we're going to talk to and who we're going to interview for specific stories.
Are there any specific things that stick out to you the most, that on making feature stories like this, that stick out the most to you as a person?
I think one of our main goals as a publication is to kind of give a voice to the voiceless and kind of, I don't want to say take away the stigma from mental health, but that's something that's super personal to me. So being upfront about mental health, talking about stories, talking about the struggles, and then giving people the resources to help themselves and have others help them. So a big part of this is talking about the actual struggles that people go through, not just on campus, but the community as well, talking about drug and alcohol counseling through the courts and everything like that. And then also we're going to have a part that is mental health resources. So it's giving people the opportunity and giving them the resources that they need to find help.
All right, well, thank you so much for joining me today. Join us next time on Story Behind the Story.